Armin had a habit he never spoke about, yet it followed him everywhere, like a shadow that refused to leave. Every morning, before he even brushed his teeth, he opened his phone and compared his life to everyone else's. One friend had bought a new car. Another had been promoted. Someone else was traveling the world, smiling in photos taken from places Armin had only seen on screens. By the time Armin reached his workplace, his heart already felt heavy. Not because his life was bad, but because it didn't look like theirs. Armin worked at a small printing shop on a narrow street. The job paid just enough to cover rent, food, and a few basic comforts. His parents often reminded him that stability mattered more than status, but their words felt weak against the loud images on social media. Why am I so far behind? He often asked himself. He was 26, and in his mind, time was running out. One evening, after another exhausting day, Armin sat on a park bench near his home. The city lights flickered in the distance, and the air carried the sounds of traffic and distant laughter. A man sat beside him, old, calm, and quietly observant. "You look like someone carrying a heavy bag," the man said gently. Armin forced a smile. "I guess I am." "What's inside it?" the man asked. "Other people's lives," Armin replied without thinking. The old man chuckled softly. "That's the heaviest bag of all." Curious, Armin turned toward him. The man's face was lined with age, but his eyes were peaceful, like someone who had stopped racing long ago. "I spent half my life comparing myself to others," the man said. "And the other half learning how pointless it was." Armin frowned. "How is it pointless? Some people are clearly ahead." "Ahead of what?" the man asked. "Your clock or theirs?" The question lingered in the air. The man continued, "When I was young, I compared my salary to my friends. Later, I compared my house to my brother's. Then my children to others' children. By the time I realized I had been running the wrong race, my hair had already turned white." Armin felt a strange tightness in his chest. "So what should I do?" he asked. The old man pointed toward the road. "Do you see those cars?" "Yes. Some are fast, some are slow, some stop more often, but they're all heading to different destinations. Comparing speed only makes sense if the destination is the same." That night, Armin walked home quietly. For the first time in years, he didn't open his phone. Instead, he thought about his own life, his struggles, his small victories, and the dreams he had buried under comparisons. Armin had always loved drawing. As a child, he could sit for hours sketching faces, buildings, and imagined worlds. But somewhere along the way, he decided art wasn't practical, especially when he saw others chasing high-paying careers. So he quit. The next morning, something felt different. Armin woke up earlier than usual. Instead of scrolling through social media, he picked up a pencil he hadn't touched in years. His hand felt rusty, but his heart felt alive. Days turned into weeks. Armin began drawing every morning before work and every night before sleep. He shared nothing online. He compared nothing. He simply created. At work, his boss noticed his designs and asked him to help with custom artwork for clients. Soon, people started visiting the shop specifically for Armin's designs. It didn't make him famous, but it made him proud. Still, comparisons tried to sneak back in. One day, Armin attended a school reunion. Old classmates talked about businesses, degrees, and achievements. A familiar heaviness returned, but then he remembered the old man's words, "Ahead of what?" That night, Armin stood in front of the mirror and spoke to himself. "I am not late. I am not behind. I am on my own path." He began setting goals, not based on others' success, but on his own growth. Learn one new skill, improve one drawing, save a little more, feel a little better. Slowly, his confidence grew. Years passed. Armin didn't become the richest or the most famous. But he built a small design studio of his own. He woke up with purpose. He slept with peace. One evening, while walking through the same park, Armin saw a young man sitting on a bench, staring at his phone with tired eyes. "You look like someone carrying a heavy bag," Armin said. The young man looked up, surprised. "I guess I am." "What's inside it?" Armin asked. The young man sighed. "Other people's lives." Armin smiled. He sat beside him and said, "Let me tell you something I learned too late, but you can learn it now." He pointed toward the road. We're all moving, Armin said. But not in the same race. The young man listened quietly. And as the city lights flickered on, Armin realized something important. The moment you stop comparing yourself to others, you don't lose motivation, you gain freedom.